Hey everybody, welcome back to One Seed, One World. Thanks for stopping by and checking out another video, and please subscribe to our channel. Even Pip wants you to subscribe. So, this is video number 2 of the greenhouse build. My lumber, concrete, paint, roofing panels, all that got delivered this morning. And then I came out here and kind of squared up the section a little bit better with some lines. It's not perfectly square, but it's pretty close. And this will get me started for digging out all my post holes. To square it up, I used the 3-4-5 method, which basically, all right, Pip. With the 3-4-5 method, once you have your lines gone down, you measure 4 feet down one line, make a mark, and then you will measure 3 feet down the next line and make a mark. And then when you measure across those two marks at the caddy corner, it should be 5 feet. So 3-4-5. And mine came out to 5 feet, but I think my lines or posts shifted a little bit a couple times, because after I sighted it up by eye, a couple of them looked a little off to me, so I made some adjust. My rooster is just having a day today. I made some adjustments. Okay, so when I was doing my 3-4-5 method to square things up, I've got a stake here with the string that runs to the stake at the other corner. And then I did these kind of H stakes, which is just 2 stakes with a crossboard in between. And I've got my string tied up here with a little hoop knot. It's not really what it's called, but you know, it hoops over and it's not tied tight against this board. But that allows me to make adjustments left or right as I need to square it up. And I have one on this corner and then one on the opposite corner on the diagonal down it that way, and then all the rest are single stakes. So with the long lines, this H stake lets me make little adjustments as needed to get my 3-4-5 measurement to match up. And so I'm going to dig my first post hole here at this corner, and then work my way down the line and try to keep them in line. But like I said, I will probably have to make some additional adjustments as I go along, but this is going to keep me pretty much in line. And then once I have the post hole in and put the post in it, I can kind of move it left or right a little bit as I need it to make sure that it all lines up, and then I'll take some additional measurements as I go. I'm sure there is probably an easier way to do this, but this has never been in my wheelhouse, the whole squaring up thing. So I'm hoping that this is a little bit more forgiving the way that I'm building this, that will allow me to make the small minor. I'm trying to keep it really close, you know, less than a 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, which if you were building a house, you wouldn't want it that far off. But with this greenhouse on a pony wall, I should be able to make some adjustments as I go. That's my theory anyway. We'll see what happens once I get all these holes dug and see where we go from there. I don't have a gas-powered auger. I have the old standard post hole digger. Now I could rent a auger, a gas-powered single-man gas-powered auger, and I tried that once in the past when I was putting in the 700 foot of posts or 700 foot of fence around part of our property. When I was doing the split rail fence, I went out and rented one. However, with this hard packed clay, the little single man auger did not have enough power to break through all the way down through the clay. It would get, you know, maybe 6 inches down and then just kind of spin and get stuck on top of the clay. So after messing with it for about 4 hours, I ended up taking that thing back when I was building the fence. And I've found that even though it's a lot more manual labor and a lot of work, that just doing it with the trusty old post hole digger manually turns out to be faster. Plus, you know, I save the rental fee. But it is going to take me longer. I have 4, 8, probably either around 14. I haven't decided with my end posts exactly how I'm going to do them quite yet, but somewhere between 14 and 16 holes to dig down 2 feet. So it's going to take me a while, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. I doubt I'm going to get through them all today unless a miracle happens. Okay, so I've got all of my posts in and concreted in. I had to make a couple adjustments when I was doing them because I realized I had started off with the 4 corner posts and I dug those holes out. Fortunately, before I put any post into those 4 corners, I did a test measurement with my 16-foot board, just laid it out to see how it was going to lay out. I was like 1.5 feet short. And then I realized that I dug the 2 back holes at the very corners of the cleared area instead of the length that I wanted. I had forgotten that I had cleared out a little bit larger area than what the greenhouse was going to be. So I had to fill in those holes and move them up. It came pretty close to square. It's definitely not perfect, but I think it's within just a little over an inch on one corner. Is a little short, but I can work with that with the way that I'm building this pony wall. Like I said, the whole squaring up thing has never been in my wheelhouse. I'm getting better with each project that I do, but I still have some more work to do. So I got everything concreted in. I mixed all the concrete by hand and just did, one hole at a time. Used my great-grandfather's old hoe to mix up the concrete, so that was kind of cool to keep using that old tool that's been in the family for forever. So this is one of my corner posts, and you see here I have 2 together. I have them doubled up so that I've got it lined for going down the long side and can attach my 2x8 to that, and it can fit in between. I just use the 2x8 as a guide, and then on the short ends another 2x8 will come across this way and butt into this, and I guess I could probably have just used one post and had one going one way and one going on the other way, but then I would have had to put the 2x8s on the outside, and I wanted them on the inside. And so this allows me to run my 2x8 on the insides all the way around. Also, to get my post plumb, I use these post levelers, which if you're doing any type of post jobs, I would recommend. They're really pretty cheap. This was $13 on Amazon for a 2-pack, and they just fit right on the post like that. They have a little strap here that comes around. Well, I can't do it the way I have this set up right now, but it wraps around and will hook here. And so that way you don't have to try to mess with a level while you're putting the especially if you're working by yourself, like putting the concrete in the hole and trying to keep everything level. This gives you a free hand without having to hold one of the long levels. It just straps right on there. And the cool thing about these 2 is that they've got magnets on the inside, so if you're working with a metal post, it will just stick right on. So something to check out for not too much money. This is the lower side wall, since everything wasn't completely flat, but I went ahead and already started attaching these boards and got my first 2 rows on, and I'm using that as a guide for all the rest of the walls. So what I'm going to do now is mark off all the posts so that I can cut them down. So like I said, I'm just going to use this wall as the guide. I'm going to set up this final 3rd row with this 2x8. And I'm just double checking to make sure that this is level. And it is, because I had leveled off the first 2 rows that I put in, so this is just sitting on top. So I know that this is where it needs to be, and that this will be the top of my pony wall. And now I can mark along here where I'm going to need to cut off the tops of these posts. I want this top line here. I wasn't sure when I was drawing the lines. I wanted to make sure the thickness of the pencil wasn't going to throw me off laying on top of the board. So I also remeasured it, and actually the top line was the right one. Now I'll just use my speed square and transfer this line all the way around the post so I can see where to make my cuts at. So now that I've got that first post marked, I'm going to use a string line and a string level to go around and mark all the other posts where I'm going to need to make the cuts to get them all even. And then once that's done, then I can cut off all the tops and start attaching all my boards. Okay, to use a string line, you just need some construction string and a string level, which I'll show you a close-up of this in a minute. But you'll line up your string, you get it tied to where you made your first mark, and then pull your string tight across and put your string level on there, and then you can watch the bubble and you can adjust it until it's level. I'm right there, and I've already made a mark here, but I wanted to show you how it works. And then you just make your mark where it comes up level with your string level. Once you have all of your posts marked using your string level and making sure that everything's level, then you can just use your speed square to come around and draw your line and transfer it around all sides of the post so that you can see where you're going to need to make your cuts at. So now that I got all my lines marked off, now I'm going to cut all these. Okay, so now all of the posts have been trimmed. You saw on that last clip where I was cutting them with the Sawzall, but I was having a rough go at that, getting them completely level, and the blades I have for it are a little dull because I've used them on jobs in the past and haven't gotten any new blades. But anyway, after cutting about 4 that way and it taking forever, I finally went and got my skill saw that's battery powered. And this thing, I just got it. This is the first job I'm using it on. And I had initially tried to start using it, but I was having a hard time, keeping everything level. And so that's when I gave up with that and went to the Sawzall. But then after the Sawzall was a pain, gave up with that and went back to the skill saw and figured it out. And now I'm so happy because I whizzed through all the rest of them. So now we can start building the sidewalls. Okay, so I didn't get to finish the video last night. It was getting too dark to take a final video, but the pony wall is all done. Got all the sideboards in, the top boards on, and so just to give you an idea of what I did is that all the pony walls are made out of 4x4 posts set in concrete. I bought 10-foot long 4x4s and then cut them all in half, so they were all 5 feet long, and then got those all sunk in the ground, then made the marks, and then trimmed them off from there. So I did have some waste from that. Then all the sideboards and the top boards are 2x8s. They're of varying different sizes, lengths I should say. I had a bunch of them left over from when I did the deck build, because I'd ordered way too many when I did the deck build back in the spring. And so I had probably at least 10 12-foot long boards left over, which covered me for a lot of it, but I did have to pick up a few more boards yesterday. The crazy thing is my rooster doesn't shut up. No, the crazy thing is the price difference. So the deck that I built in the spring, which I do not have a video on, but is much bigger, much bigger than this greenhouse. But at that time, it was at the beginning of the pandemic when I built it. It was the end of March, beginning of April. At that time, the cost of lumber had taken a big dip because nobody was really building anything because pandemic had just started. Everybody was staying home. So a 2x8 by 12, or actually I had some 10-foot, so a 2x8 by 10 at that point was about $10, or actually I think it was a little bit less than $10, like 9 something a board. I had to go and pick up 3 10-foot long 2x8s yesterday to finish off this wall. They're $20.57 each, then plus tax, so about $21 just guesstimated each per board. So the prices have more than doubled since April. So this greenhouse with the lumber that I bought, even though most of what I bought for the walls are all going to be not treated because we're going to paint them all, but everything that for the base wall was treated wood, so that's more expensive. But still, the cost of lumber is now up more than double what it was. I think actually it was a 60% rise is what I read an article not that long ago on the cost of lumber. So this smaller size greenhouse is costing me more than it did to build the whole deck, which was a lot more lumber than what I'm using here. So it's just crazy. I'm not listing out all the prices or like a cut list because it's really going to vary because I have to fit things to fit these barn windows that we're going to be, the recycled barn windows that we're going to be using. So what I'm doing is not necessarily going to apply to if you're doing a build. This is more just to give you a basic idea. But just be aware that right now in fall of 2020, lumber prices are more than double than what they were back at the beginning of the year. So your costs may vary. So anyway, pony wall's done. Very excited about that. I got a little bit more leveling to do. I did find that there was about, even after taking that top layer off, there was still about 7.5 to 8 inch slope in here. And so yesterday I started kind of digging out this side and moving stuff over to kind of level it out more. And now I'm getting ready to go get some stone. So the next step is going to be basically doing the floor in here is what I've decided to do next, because we still have a lot of figuring to do because all these windows aren't the exact same size. They're more off than what I thought they were, so we'll deal with that in a future episode. But I've got to do a lot of figuring on how to build the frames for these windows, as well as we have to scrape all the old paint and take all the old putty off the other windows. So I've got some time in between getting all the windows ready and framing out the walls, so I figured I'd go ahead and get this flooring in here leveled out and get the stone in here, and that's what we'll do next. But this was the pony wall episode, and now it's done. So thanks for stopping by and checking out our video. And again, please subscribe to our channel. And whatever's going on in your neck of the woods, in your homesteads or your build projects, your gardens, your whatever it is that you're doing, I hope you're having success with all that. And come back and check out the next episode on building this greenhouse. So hope to see you again soon. Have a great day. Namaste.